All right, guys, let's talk the West. Mostly focusing on like 6 teams here. There's a sponsor in this one. I'm hitting you with a dramatic YouTube title, but the West does have a problem. It's called The Spurs and the Thunder Are Really Good. And while we'll talk about each team and their own strengths and weaknesses or whatever, I can't help but just go to, well, how do you match up against those two teams, right? So you think about, for the Lakers, it's Austin versus the OKC defense. We know what that could look like. I'm imagining in a Rocket series, like if Wemby's helping off of Amen, can the Rockets counter that? Well, then can Şengün make a smaller guy pay for being on him, which would probably be Tobias. I don't know. Wemby's still lurking somewhere. Given the problems that Jamal Murray has had with Jaden in the playoffs, like what if he's facing, still an amazing OKC perimeter defense, even if Dort is gone, or Castle, Harper. Wemby, as well as that OKC defense, made the Wolves say, no, we have to get a playmaker to change the whole outlook of this team, even if we lose size with LaMelo, right? So everything is weighed against these two teams. And there's another side of this as well. Like Lou Dort being gone definitely helps Luka. Do you have enough tough defenders to bother Shea? The Spurs do. The Rockets with Marcus have gotten more physical, but they got their own problems to figure out. I know they picked up Thibault, but the Lakers feel 1, maybe 2 perimeter defenders away. Wolves will always have Jaden and Gobert. Nuggets are going to have defense problems. You get it. Anyway, let's dive into each team. We're not going to start with the Spurs and OKC for everything I just did. Let's start with the Wolves because, I don't know. So I feel like if Ant is ever going to really get into MVP talks, because up to this point he's finished 7th as the highest back-to-back years, I feel like it's got to be this year. It's age 25. Of course, LaMelo taking playmaking pressure off of him. Ant's catch and shoot numbers have been amazing for years now, but he doesn't take that many, right? And hopefully now LaMelo, he can bend the defense. Ant can get a couple more catch and shoot threes, and perhaps he could dedicate a little more energy to defense. In the Hornets' run last year when they went crazy, they beat the Spurs and the Thunder. In one of those games, LaMelo, there's a number of plays where he does not challenge Wemby, but they still had a very good offensive rating when LaMelo was on the floor versus them. And then in the Thunder game, the Hornets shot over 50% from 3, and it was just a whole bunch of driving kicks orchestrated by, LaMelo starting it, of course. And you're hoping for more of that and a lot of driving kicks out of Ant and Io and Jaden, because we know in tough situations, the Wolves offense can get stagnant. And if LaMelo is able to inject them with enough playmaking energy to where they suddenly are having 4 or 5 pass possessions, they could feel like a totally different team. And an underrated part of this is that Gobert, he's gotten a little better off the dribble, a little better on making a pass out of a short roll. So what ends up mattering more? Just all the playmaking that LaMelo gives them and the roller coaster that he is versus the fact that they got way smaller. Of course, they need LaMelo to be healthy. I still remember the layup that LaMelo had to seal that play-in game versus the Heat, where he was an adventure of missed shots before that, but he mustered all the physicality he could to take Jaquez off the dribble, right? Can he do that more times a game versus Castle, Harper, Caruso, Kaysen, J-Dub, Marcus, Amen, with Wemby or Chet or iHeart or whoever waiting for you at the rim? They're probably going to give Berenger real minutes this year as the backup 5. I know PJ Washington has been thrown in fake trades for them. Makes sense, but I don't think the Mavericks are just going to give away PJ. There's the Wolves. Will I end up picking them to lose in round 1 and then overcorrecting after they win in round 1? Maybe, I don't know. All right, next up the Spurs, who have done not a whole lot. They just got Tobias pretty much. But Tobias does give them another big body that they can put on a center, which allows Wemby to do his help off of whoever defense. And if Jaden Quaintance is ever healthy, then the defense with him and Wemby can be unbelievable. For certain minutes, you know what I mean. Castle, Harper, and Fox, the ceiling of all 3 of those guys' minutes, assuming that it's 2 of them on the floor at all times, it's low 30s, high 20s, pretty much. Harper was at 22 minutes a game last year. Obviously, that's got to be higher. But let's just go to Wemby. The question for Wemby this season for me is pretty simple. What is the thing on offense that we see him leaning into a little bit more that makes him really unstoppable? Because we know what it was on the ugliest half-court offense possessions for him in the playoffs. A little bit in the Thunder series, but really in the finals. He was 53 true shooting, same assist and turnovers in the finals. And even with all that, to show you how doomed the NBA is when he really puts it all together, if the Luke Cornett minutes were not a complete disaster in the finals, there's a decent chance they win the whole thing. Now, that does not excuse the collapses, and it does not excuse the stalling out in the half court. And yeah, Wemby was on the floor for a lot of that. Before we get back to it, this video is sponsored by SeatGeek. So can someone tell me, is it messed up by the NFL to have the Patriots play the Seahawks week 1? I just saw them shut down Drake May in the Super Bowl, and now week 1, am I going to see it happen again? I don't know. I don't know what moves have been made in the NFL pretty much at all. I'll listen to some podcasts and get caught up, but that's about it. I don't have enough brain power to follow another sport like I do the NBA. Anyway, if I wanted to go to the opening night game with the Seahawks and the Patriots, or any NFL game or sporting event or concert or festival or many things, then I would use SeatGeek as I have before, and it's always been good. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are over 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek. and you can use my code FunkyDiabetic10 for 10% off your next order at SeatGeek. SeatGeek rates deals on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. One more time, FunkyDiabetic10, 10% off. SeatGeek. The NFL season, it is here, man. We got preseason games. It might not be one specific thing. It might just be a mix of he becomes so good at breaking down bigs off the dribble. Maybe it's getting a little better as a screen setter, force more contact, force more switches. Maybe it's pulling an Embiid and becoming amazing at face-up jumpers. And to go with that, reading the defense better. He had basically a neutral assist to turnover in the playoffs. As always, he's not going to be able to just move big guys out of the way. He's not Shaq. I mean, you know what you're getting out of Vassell and Champagny. Fox is going to have probably a very similar regular season to what he just had. And then to go back to Quaintance, besides how insane him and Wemby together can be, because if you don't know, Quaintance, he's like Robert Williams. Not just with his game, but also with his health. It's also that it just gives him another option for the backup five. Subplot of the year probably is just going to be like how much of Harper can be really unleashed, given that Fox and Castle are here. I don't know. I mean, maybe we get to a point where Harper finishes out a game in like February and De'Aaron Fox sits, and then we do a whole news cycle about it that may or may not actually matter, but it's possible. Anyway, that's the Spurs. They're going to win a whole bunch of games. I know it's really tough to make it 2 years in a row, but they're still clearly trending upwards. Wemby's in year 4. Anyway, let's go to OKC. It's really just about J-Dub and Chet. Chet, we know what he's got to do. He's got to do some soul searching, put on some strength, and also become more of a gunslinger from 3 and not just I can make it when I'm super wide open. And it's really just for the Spurs matchup. And now for Shea, it's really just about can they get him more off the catch to shoot or to drive. Now, it was tougher this postseason. J-Dub was out. Chet was not a threat to score against the Spurs. And AJ also was dealing with stuff. They just can't have multiple plays in a row where Shea is in basically a wrestling match with Castle, Vassell, Champagny, Harper to get like a 15-footer off. He doesn't have to drastically increase his three-point volume, but I think he's got to be ready to potentially do that in the playoffs as well. So we'll see with J-Dub. I mean, for AJ, who also dealt with injuries in that Spurs series, yes, the Spurs also had Fox hurt, I know. There is a bit of a Dylan Harper question here as well. Like he was at 26 minutes a game last year. Can you get him to 29, 30 a game? Yeah, Dort is gone, but between Kaysen and Caruso, they'll be fine guarding on the ball. And Dort's offense was slipping a little too much this past year. I think this is a pretty big Kaysen Wallace season. He is extension eligible. He's going to want to do more on the ball, but you assume he's stepping into the Lou Dort role. Regular season efficiency dipped, but in the playoffs, especially against the Spurs, he had some huge threes. Ihart's on a new deal. Adai Mara, we'll see if he gets minutes. We'll see if Bennett starts continuing minutes. They're still going to get a million steals, blocks, deflections, but Wemby is only getting better. They have a new problem to solve, as the rest of the West does. Biggest thing is still J-Dub's health. Okay, now for the Lakers. Since the last time I talked about him, they picked up Thibault and Zaire. We'll talk the defense, but let's just go to Luka. The biggest thing is going to be the rim pressure. Post All-Star break, I mean, the numbers were insane. Threes were going nuts there, but he also took about 9 shots a game in the paint. Now, more of them were from floater range than at the rim, but his percentages from both were crazy good. Because we see, like, sometimes he'll make 3 or 4 step-back threes in the first quarter. It's like, this dude's unguardable, but then he'll have other times where it's like, Luka, you're really taking another one of these right now. I think I said it in a different video. The defensive rating with Luka and Austin together last year is better than you might think, but also they needed Marcus to really make that work. Grimes is not Marcus. Zaire's defensive advanced numbers are good. And then we have Thibault, who of course is a turnover forcing machine, and also he blocks guys on jumpers. I wouldn't say that Thibault is as like physical on the ball as Marcus. When you force turnovers, you force turnovers. The question with Thibault is the health, and then where really is the 3-ball? Because 45 games played over the last 2 seasons, not a whole lot, regular seasons at least. But the 3-ball has been intriguing. As I say that, he was pretty much unplayable versus the Spurs in round 1. And also, if we keep up with the Marcus comparison, Marcus was a way better ball handler, playmaker. As far as Kessler, I've said this already, this dude has some of the most pressure on him in the entire NBA. They need him on defense. They need him to be a threat as a roller and the amount of picks they give up for him. But to go back to our Spurs OKC thing looming over every other team here, can Kessler guard Wemby in a playoff series? The way that Wemby can make the floor look like it's shrinking versus SGA as Castle is also bumping into him all day, can Kessler have 70% of that effect on SGA? Everyone knows this, but yeah, Kessler, the rim protection numbers, they are all very legit. Let's say Ant has a head of steam going to the rim. Does he care at all that Walker Kessler is waiting for him in the paint? Some of that depends on the perimeter defense, right? Like, was it a quick blow-by on Quentin Grimes to where Kessler has to relocate and it's all happening a little too fast? Or is it more so like, yeah, he got to the paint, but it was a bit more of a struggle. Now Kessler's in the right spot, all that. That's why I say they feel like they're like 1 or 2 on-ball defenders away. Then for OKC, the obvious, can Austin score consistently versus a great physical, lengthy OKC defense, and a similar thing with the Spurs. I mean, Dort is gone, but it's still Caruso, Kaysen, AJ gets after it, J-Dub can switch all over the place. You still got iHeart and Chet waiting for you at the rim. Like, it's a lot, man. Other little questions. Does Looney have much left in the tank? We'll see. Can Cameron Carr get real minutes right away? Same thing with Adu. I know Laker fans have wanted him to get in the rotation. And then the last question I have is, what other moves can they really pull off? I don't know, because most of their future picks have been dealt. Mamu, Laravia, and Vando are here as well. All right, fine. On to the Rockets. So I guess the hope is that Fred and Steven Adams are just going to fix everything, huh? Fred's going to take playmaking pressure off everybody and be the sturdy defender and all that stuff again. Look, man, Fred's about to be 32, 33 years old, I think, during the season, whatever it is. He just had an ACL injury and a meniscus injury as well. That didn't get talked about when the thing first happened. And for as impactful of a player as Fred is with the playmaking, the three-point shooting, and the defense, he already has had a problem with scoring from two-point range. And what if all of those injuries zap just a bit too much of that? Because I know he's not going to take a bunch of layups, like he's already not doing that, but still, like, the pressure of him driving would open up things for Şengün on the roll, or you find Amen in the dunker spot, or whatever. Did that make sense the way I worded it? We'll see with Fred. Steven Adams will once again make him unbelievable on the offensive glass. Really, it's just how much can they transform what this offense was last year? Because if this team, once again, in a clutch situation, is Kevin Durant walking the ball up court with the most predictable screen from Şengün coming, and then they've got at least like one, maybe two other guys the teams are comfortable helping off of around that, this team is going to have a very similar exit to last season, with struggling out of KD double teams or these possessions that are 0 or 1 pass. I mean, they have Marcus now, and I mean, teams are going to dare him to make shots, but Marcus, I think, can get to the middle of the floor off of a KD double and make the next play for somebody. That's cool. He can also be used as a screen setter as well. Like, that's nice. I'm sure Udoka would love to play Marcus more minutes than Reed Shepherd, but it's not going to be that simple. Will Jabari make the big three-point shooting jump? I don't know. I mean, he's good. He's a good player. Will Shepherd be ready for big games on both sides of the floor? Don't know. Will Amen just add something else to his game, whether it's like a big jump in free throw attempts or like a short jumper or something? Will Şengün go to a different level as a finisher around the rim, or can he get like a 15-footer at the least? I mean, the three ball would be great, but there's not many signs of it. I don't want to come across as too negative. Like, they're going to be really annoying to play. They're going to be big and physical and switchable, and Amen may be able to tap a bit back into the defense now with Fred coming back. And I think an Amen Marcus perimeter defense situation can be really good. I mean, Marcus is going to come off the bench. So yeah, they'll be good. But once again, to go back to it, like I said in the intro, what does it look like in a playoff series when Wemby is just helping off of Amen? Does that just break the whole offense? Look, Amen could challenge him and just go downhill. You could run little two-man actions with Amen and a shooter, but with how physical of perimeter defense the Spurs play, like, even that action's not going to be simple, right? But then, I mean, this isn't really an X's and O's video, but then you think, hey, if Steven Adams is healthy, you put him in the game. Wemby's got to worry about him on the glass, but we saw Wemby versus Mitch mostly win those minutes in the finals. So, I don't know. I will say the Rockets, they can go pretty deep. I mean, Bogdan's on this team as well. I don't know if he's got anything left in the tank, but he's here. I mean, Tari and Capella are here too, anyway. And now for the Nuggets. Am I a bad YouTuber for not doing vids on the paying Watson or DeRozan things? So yeah, they didn't want to pay Watson, and now DeMar is here, making them way older, losing all potential for somebody to make a jump. Worse defensively. I mean, they were 20-something in defensive rating this past season. DeMar DeRozan is, of course, not helping that at all. And so I'm expecting another regular season of, top 5 offense and not good defense. And we hope Gordon is healthy, and we hope that Christian Brown develops more from 3, I guess. And then Cam Johnson can hopefully do more than just kind of float around. And that's before we get to that Jokic and Murray were not good enough against the Wolves. So yeah, they put up some point totals, but the efficiency wasn't good enough. Jaden locked up Murray, Gobert locked up Jokic. And in that series, I mean, for the reputation the Nuggets have of good offense, bad defense, which is true, don't get me wrong, but in that series, they didn't hit 100 points 3 different times. And so the most optimistic look you can have on them getting DeRozan now is that he can still score, and they need just something off the bench. I mean, yeah, he doesn't fix any of their big issues, but just go look at the guys they have coming off the bench. Like, DeRozan is now the best player there. And hey, maybe that 1 month that Watson has is doing a lot of carrying with his reputation, but even so, you got to maximize defense and athleticism around Jokic and Murray, and this obviously is a reduction in that stuff. And it's a nice bet for Cleveland. Like, yeah, an unprotected first from the Cavs 5 years from now is cool, but that's doing nothing for you today. Brad Stevens, if you can pull off Nikola Jokic in Boston in like a year, then the Jaylen Brown trade, we're all good. I can dream. Hey, maybe they just don't see the Wolves at all, and then I mean, Jokic has scored on Wemby one-on-one. That's like all I got. I mean, Jokic just beat Wemby and Gobert and FIBA if you want to care. After the top 6, there are still good teams. I mean, Utah is looking to make a big jump. I don't know how good on defense they are around Jaren, but they'll be better. Dallas will be better. The Suns and the Blazers should be not bad. The Warriors, can they be like a 500 team when Jimmy comes back? I don't know what his scoring is going to be like when he comes back. It's tough to talk yourself into an optimistic Warriors season around Steph. Anyway, that's it, guys.